Hello, and welcome back to a chapter a day. Happy Sabbath! It is Saturday, March the 23rd, and I'll be reading Exodus chapter 32. So, we are still in the area of God's instructions to Moses as to how he would like the children of Israel to worship him, the type of place that he would like for them to build in which he can dwell or come down to um, gather with them and have worship called the tabernacle. And he's also reminding them of the Sabbath in particular to keep it holy. It is a sign between God. People think that the Sabbath is just another day. You can't just bless any old day and call it the Sabbath. God blessed one day, and it was the seventh day on which he rested after his 6 day creation. So the Sabbath is important as all of the other commandments, and that's why it starts with the word remember. It can be easily thrown out, which it seems to have been even in Christian settings where people are just, even though they read the Bible and say, yes, it says the seventh day, but there's no buts because God did not rescind his word. It is still the seventh day, and the devil has been trying to create his own Sabbath, and that's what he has right now. And people will not open their spiritual eyes to understand the seventh day is still the Sabbath. So we are going to move on. More of God's instructions through Moses to the people of Israel. Chapter 32. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this, for I'm sorry. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And Aaron said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in your ears, of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And all the people brake off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aaron. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a molten calf. And they said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aaron made proclamation and said, Tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. Mm, 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 mm. And they rose up early on the morrow and offered burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people, which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and I will make of thee a great nation. And Moses besought the Lord his God, and said, Lord, why doth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, For mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from thy fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against thy people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel thy servants, to whom thou swarest by thine own self, and sayest unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. And Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of the testimony were in his hand, The tables were written on both their sides, on the one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the work of God. The writing was the writing of God, graven upon the tables. And when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, There is a noise of war in the camp. And he said, It is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. And it came to pass, as soon as he came nigh unto the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot, and he cast the tables out of his hands and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made, and burnt it in the fire, and ground it to powder, and strawed it upon the water, and made the children of Israel to drink it. And Moses said unto Aaron, What did this people unto you, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? And Aaron said, Let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, Make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And I said unto them, Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies, then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said unto them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men. For Moses had said, Consecrate yourselves today to the Lord, every man upon his son and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses said unto the people, You have sinned a great sin, and now I will go up unto the Lord. Peradventure I shall make an atonement for your sin. And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, O this people have sinned a great sin, and have made them gods of gold. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. And the Lord said unto Moses, Whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. Therefore now go, lead the people unto the place of which I have spoken unto thee. Behold, my angel shall go before thee. Nevertheless, in the day when I will visit their sin upon them. And the Lord plagued the people, because they made the calf which Aaron had made. Oh, wow. That's the end of chapter 32. Wow. What's happening here? Moses is up in the Mount of Sinai talking with God. God gave him 2 tables of stone with his writing of the law, the 10 Commandment law, on them. And now that he's up there, he's hearing the noises from down. So what's happening down below with the people and Aaron? Because he left Aaron down below in charge. And the people apparently are finding, because Moses was up there for 40 days and 40 nights. So in between that time, they thought, hey, Moses isn't coming back. What's going on? We aren't hearing anything. Again, we do that in our spiritual lives. We don't think anything's happening when we are talking to God. Moses was the one interceding on their behalf, or God was the one having Moses as their intercessor in between, his spokesman. It's like us. Now we have Jesus as our intercessor. And when we talk to God, we are not finding that we're hearing anything. I'm not hearing from Jesus. I'm not hearing from God. I'm not hearing anything. I have no feelings of upliftment. I have nothing. And we start to complain. And next thing we say, you know what? Forget that. I am not going to be worrying about God anymore. Let me just go to the world. Where do you think you're going? When you leave God, you go to Satan. There is no in between. Don't even waste your time thinking you're on neutral ground. That's erroneous. So, Aaron maybe was afraid. I mean, you're talking about a multitude of over 500,000 people, and he is left there in charge of them. And he told the people, you know what? Take off all the earrings. Apparently, everybody was wearing earrings. Man, women, child, everybody was wearing earrings because they took them off, brought them to to Aaron. And Aaron took them and fashioned it, it says, with a graving tool. He actually did something with it and made them a molten calf. So he was a craftsman of some sort. So for him to be able to do that. And I guess some calf came out. I don't know what's the size of this thing, honestly. They always show you this big calf. I don't know how many earrings could be molten to make a huge calf. So I don't know if it could be a little one, big one. I'm not sure. But the people saw that, and their paganism from Egypt just rose up in them again. Because remember, this was a mixed multitude. And sometimes as Christians, because I'm sure there were not everybody wanting to do that. But like everybody else, as Christians, we sometimes cower. They say silence is consent a lot of times. So we don't want to say anything because, the world is doing their thing and it's against our beliefs. But we don't want to say anything because we are afraid to offend. I don't want to offend anyone. Okay. So this is what's happening. Nobody told them anything. So the pagans, and they just acted out, and they went ahead and did their dancing. And somehow they were naked. I don't know if Aaron told them to get naked or if the old pagan behaviors from Egypt came out of them. But they say you could bring the people out, but you can't take the behaviors out. So once again, and it seems it went on for some time, because it says the people sat down to eat and drink. So they were eating and drinking and rose up to play. That's all they were doing. They weren't even remembering God is up there. Just like us. We don't even have to look up to find God. God is supposed to be here. A lot of people think they need to climb a high mountain to sit there and talk to God. God is here. Here. You could be in the lowest depths of the earth. God is there and here in your heart. That's what Jesus cleared for us. This temple, our body, is where God dwells. No longer in a temple made by hands. So the people were doing their own thing, worshiping what they called, and they had the goal to say, this is the God that brought you out of Egypt. My goodness, God has so much patience. So when Moses finally went down and saw what was happening, mercy, mercy, mercy. God was about to clear them out. He was going to wipe them out. Moses begged for them. I tell you, God knows who he chooses for leaders. Sometimes we have leaders, and I know this is election time, and I'm not going to get political, but we need to review the characteristics of our leaders. And if you know you're going to vote for them, you better be praying for them. Okay? Praying for whoever it is you're going to be voting in, because God only knows the characters within us. And yeah, Moses had to intercede and beg for them and say, Lord, how is it going to look when people hear that you destroy the Israelites in the desert after you just brought them out of Egypt with such a mighty hand? They're going to say you just did that to destroy them. And they say God repented. I believe what it is that God was just showing Moses what was in him and showing us what was in Moses too, because this was written down. And Moses was like Christ. He interceded for that people. You know what? I'd have stepped aside. I would have stepped aside and let God do his will. That's me. That was not Moses. But anyway, this is what happened. And Moses was so angry. He cast down the stones. And God told him, you know what? Separate the people. Those who are for me, let them come. And those who are not. And those who came, they remained. And Moses told them, take out your swords. They were like the sons of Levi. And he said, kill everybody else who is not for God. And that's what happened. And in the end, God said, you know what? You all keep on going on your journey, but I'm going to deal with those people. Moses was trying to take the sin of the people on himself, just like Jesus. But God said, no, the persons that sin, they are going to account for the sin themselves. And that's how it ended. They kept on going, and God sent a plague to deal with those people who made the calf through Aaron and his weakness, I would guess. But like any of us, I guess he was afraid. And that's the end of chapter 32. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for viewing. I pray you all have an awesome rest of your day and a great week ahead.